Tony Leonardi and the Youngstown State University Jazz Ensemble.
Trombonist John Olsson and his wife, saxophonist Patti Olsson, were both in the Youngstown State University Jazz Ensemble in 1978, 1979 through 1984. John has continued to perform throughout the United States as well as Italy, and he also instructs in different colleges and universities throughout Northeast Ohio. Patti also still performs and teaches jazz courses at Kent State University. Here is my interview with John and Patti Olsson. Hi, John. How are you doing today?
Hi, Paul. I'm doing fine. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you. Nice to see you. I don't think we ever formally met before.
No, I think I remember seeing you in the distance here and there, but no, I don't think we have.
Yes. What years were you in the jazz ensemble?
Let's see. I was in from 78 until 84.
Okay.
I can't remember exactly when your dad came back, 79 or 80, something like that.
You know, I'm not sure.
It was around
79.
I think it was 79.
He took a hiatus?
Yeah, he was gone for a little bit. I'm not sure how long because I started in 78.
I can tell you.
One year, it was Mr. Sarvello. Frank Sarvello, that's right. Did it.
You want me to?
Yeah, go ahead.
Hi. You don't know me. If you know John, you know me. Patti Olsson. And I was in the jazz band from fall of 77 until, when did we leave? 84.
84.
Spring of 84. Yeah, your dad left because they wouldn't hire him full time. He got mad and he left.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes, he did. And he left, I think, right before I came, but I might be a year off. He was gone when I came, and all I heard about was Tony this, Tony that, Tony this. And they hired another guy to come in and do the jazz band part-time, of course. And he had it for, I think, 2 years.
Was it 2?
I think it was 2. Yeah. And then they decided to hire your dad back full time. And I think it was 79 or 80. I can't remember which. So yeah, he was gone for a couple of years. 3 at the most, but I think it was 2.
I think it was 2.
I think it was 2. Yeah. And so yeah, we overlapped by a year. I'm older than he is. So
and what did you play?
Sax.
Oh my gosh, really?
So yeah, I played with all of Rich Rollo, Jim Volnick, all those guys. I was in with them. I was in the first and the second band. Both kind of went back and forth between the two. So
oh my gosh, that is so cool. Oh wow. I love female sax players.
Well, and I have to tell you, you know, when you asked John, we'd never met, you actually did meet her at my graduate recital.
Oh.
I don't know what year you were born.
80.
Okay, so it was my senior recital. Your dad brought you to my senior recital in 1981, and you sat on his lap and sucked on your binky the whole time.
Are you serious?
And it's like Maggie from The Simpsons on the recording. You could hear all the way through my recital.
Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
She was doing her job.
That's right. And it was, I thought at the time, I remember thinking, what is that? As you know, as you're playing, you're thinking, what the heck is that sound? And then I realized what it was, and then I thought it was funny the rest of the time. But yeah, so you and I met a long time ago.
Gosh, oh my gosh, wow.
All right, I'll get off and let you guys talk.
No, don't go away.
No, stay on. So
my chair.
How did you end up in the jazz ensemble at YSU, and what led you to jazz and playing trombone for you, John, and sax for you, Patti?
Well, I was very lucky. I studied with James Bain. He was the band director at Cleveland Heights High School. And he won't admit this, but he was a really fine trumpet player. I only got to hear him play it once, but you could just tell. And he was playing a few jazz licks from a big band. But he had a really nice jazz program at Cleveland Heights, first and second ensembles, and I got to play in those. Mainly played some lead in those. And he got us into all kinds of charts. One thing that really kind of cemented it for me is I played something called Superbone Meets the Bad Man, which is a Maynard Ferguson chart, and I can't remember the names, but was for Barry sax and slide trombone, or trombone, excuse me. And Maynard played the trombone part on a horn that he had created, Superbone, with valves. And it went like, and I learned how to do that on slide trombone.
Wow.
Yeah. So that was, I had so much fun doing that and playing with the band in general that kind of cemented my interest in jazz, between his great program and getting to do some interesting things. Cleveland Heights had a wonderful band program and orchestra program at that time. And then when I got to YSU, Mr. Sabella was teaching, Frank was teaching, and I naturally wanted to be in the jazz band as part of what was going on with the program. And he was a good guy. He got things done. It wasn't like your dad, because your dad's an all-star at that kind of stuff. But he's a good guy. He had good bands going as well. And I enjoyed that. But then your dad came in, and the intensity, and I mean,
intensity. Yeah.
He was scary to work with, but it's like the drill sergeant that's trying to save your life out on the battlefield, He's working you really hard because he wants you to stay alive. And your dad did a lot of that. I just remember taking his improv classes, and now and then the world would overwhelm me, and I wouldn't quite get what I was supposed to get done. You not what you think it's supposed to be, but what the authors thinks it's supposed to be, what the great player thinks it's supposed to be. Okay. I was kind of quiet, so for me, mostly talk with the horn when I was younger, especially. So, I don't know.
How about you, Patti? How did you get into jazz and playing sax and YSU?
Well, my kind of story goes back to junior high. One of my band friends in high school decided to start a garage band, only it wasn't a garage rock band, it was a garage jazz band. And we started off playing lots of Chicago charts that he managed to get his dad to buy for us. And we rehearsed in his garage, and we had a couple saxes, trumpet, drums, whatever we could find people who were interested, bass guitar. And that band morphed into a big band because one of the guys who eventually joined, his father had been a member of a local big band. And he had all of those original big band charts in his basement, plus the bandstands and everything. And these were like original Glenn Miller charts and Count Basie, Duke Ellington things. Plus we ended up buying stuff later. And so we formed a big band, and we would play at the park in the summer. And we played that back when the union was strong and there was money in the trust fund to pay us. We played park concerts and private parties, and, you know, whoever would hire us, we played. I played in the high school jazz band, played lead alto in the jazz band. Not a great improviser. I've always considered myself a section player.
Great section player.
I'm a good listener, but not a good improviser. And so when I got to YSU, I wanted to keep playing in the jazz band. And we had, I think, a lot of people quit when Tony left. And so I got in and stayed. And then Tony showed up, and things, like John said, things got a little more intense kind of quickly. Yeah. But I was used to that because I came from a very Italian high school band director who also ran the jazz band, who was very much like your dad, very intense and yell and scream.
Another great program.
Stuff. A really good band program, yeah. So that, you know, that was my background and how I got there, basically.
Oh, okay. And what high school did you go to?
I went to Dover High School, which is where we live right now, which is northeast Ohio. We're south of Canton.
Yes.
About 20 minutes south of the Hall of Fame. If you know where the Football Hall of Fame is, you know, we're south of that. And John was at Cleveland Heights. So we met his freshman year at YSU.
Okay.
Wasn't it?
December, January of his freshman year, yeah.
Okay.
Myself.
So what are some of your best memories of being in the jazz ensemble, or do you have any funny stories or Tonyisms that stand out in your mind?
Yeah, well, let me do the easy one first. You know, he did a lot of outreach concerts. One of the outreach concerts he did was to Cedar Point, if I remember correctly, and we were, you know, there to get a hold of some youth people seeing us as they walked by, and we were in a real nice picnic shelter with a stage, and concert was going great. Had a wonderful time, and somewhere during, I don't know, the third or fourth tune, I'm playing really loud because it's outside. I'm playing bass trombone, and my nose starts to bleed. And your dad said something to the effect of, "Look, now that guy's trying." We need more of that.
Oh no. Were you okay?
Oh yeah, it was just allergies, pretty much.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh my
Lots
gosh.
of stuff. You know, your dad was quick to criticize, but he was just as quick to support someone that had gotten it right and worked at it. I mean, there was just as much of that coming out most days, depending on what we were doing.
He could never yell at me. I don't know if it was the girl thing. I suspect maybe it was. I never tested it to see how far I could take it, but he could never yell at me. And when I was in grad school, I was over at Maud Library working on a class. I don't know what, I think it was Dr. Spiro's class. And I just lost track of time. I had no idea what time it was. And we had jazz band at like 3 o'clock or something. And I completely forgot about it. And when I left the library, I ran into a couple of people and they said, "Where were you?" And I was like, "What? I don't know what are you talking about?" "We had jazz band." "Oh, crap." And I thought, this is the end. You know, he's going to throw me out of the band. He's going to scream and yell at me. So I sucked it up and I went straight to his office and knocked on his door, and he was in there. And I said, Tony, I'm really sorry. I was working on class stuff, and time got away from me. I forgot what day it was, all this. And he just looked at me and he said, okay. And I was so shocked. He never yelled. He never did anything. And I thought it was one of those situations where, like, when you're a kid, you look at somebody and you go, I'm going to die. And he never did. That was it. So, yeah.
Well, you're lucky.
I know.
Just knew that you were serious and
I know.
Made a mistake. Now, on the other hand, if I had done it, because I was kind of an airhead, he would have let me know. It wouldn't have been quite a serious student as her, messing up.
Right.
Stuff written down.
I do. I got I don't know if anybody's talked about this yet, but one of the concerts we did at Kilcolly, I don't know what jokester did it, but
oh,
well, I think we're in the first or second tune, and the fire alarm went off.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Somebody pulled it on purpose.
And then somebody in the sax section got the bright idea that the fire alarm is 60 hertz because you use the house current, which is a flat B flat.
It was probably Rich.
And used it as a backbeat. So we played blues in B flat to the fire alarm for it was like half an hour.
Yep. I forgot about that.
It was about half an hour until the fire department finally turned it off. That's one of my favorite. There's some really good stuff going on. I don't know if they could record it because of the fire alarm was so loud, but your dad loved it after if he got over the feeling. He loved it. Whoever came up with it.
That's very creative.
My other memory, well, I have two more, but one of something similar to that was, I think it was in my graduate year, so it would have been 81 to 84-ish. There was a period of time where the art majors kept setting off the fire alarm in the building by doing stupid things. And those of you who are familiar with Bliss Hall, downstairs was a big art gallery. And sometimes it was empty, sometimes it wasn't. And we'd spent a week or two with the fire alarm going off almost every day for no apparent reason. And so it got to the point where people just ignored it, Yeah. And we're in jazz band and the fire alarm goes off. And then it got noisy outside. And, we had the rehearsal room door closed and you could hear people in the hallway kind of loud. And so your dad finally goes up to the door and he opens the door and you could smell smoke.
Oh, geez.
And he very calmly turns around, walks back in and he says, I think we should leave.
Oh my God.
And so what's hilarious is John was not there, but his horn was, and you don't leave your horn, So here's me with like 6 of my own horns trying to get into his locker to get his horn out in case the building goes up in flames, It
was Bliss Hall after all.
Yeah, and turned out the art majors were downstairs in the art gallery. Someone was welding next to an art display that had straw.
Oh my
and they had
gosh.
on fire.
Oh.
So they're really fun, but I can still see your dad turning around and just very calmly and seriously going, we should leave.
Oh my gosh. That's funny. Well, luckily it wasn't anything worse.
No. But the building really stunk for a few days.
Oh, I bet.
Oh, it really did.
It was awful.
Fortunately, I had just gotten the gig bag, so you were able to sling my horn over your shoulder.
Yeah, along with all my horns.
Yeah.
Oh.
I'm not leaving without the instruments. They're going with me.
And where were you, John? Were you in another class?
I think you were student teaching, maybe.
That sounds right. Yeah. That's probably because I don't know why I would have been out of the building except for
Yeah,
lunch.
I think you were student teaching or something.
Oh, okay.
What else you got?
Those are the big ones that came to my mind. I mean, other than, of course, it being so nice and scary. Your dad had created a program that was obviously really important.
Did you ever go back to the concerts after you graduated? Did you go back to see other performances?
Yeah, now and then, but thanks to your dad and a couple other people, I was really busy.
Good.
I went to college in Pittsburgh, so those couple of years were out. But after that, I was back once in a while for different things. And I also played locally in big bands with people from the program. So.
And you played in the
for
reunion. Well, we played in the first reunion concert together.
I think I played in two of them, didn't I?
And you did the second one. I think I was pregnant with Alex.
How would you describe Tony to somebody who didn't know him, or how would you explain his teaching style, or how he had such a impact on people that he left such a legacy behind?
Well, I mean, I would start with the metaphor I used before with the drill sergeant who's trying to save your life. Of course, musically, he's trying to make sure that you know everything you can, because he knows what the world is out there. I mean, heck, he played with Buddy Rich, one of the best and probably most vicious band leaders,
right,
ever. And yeah,
that's a good story too.
Oh, a friend, yeah. Well, I didn't get to do that, but a friend of ours got to play with Buddy Rich last minute because he had punched the bass trombonist in the mouth.
And that was a whole bunch of us jazz band people went to hear him.
And we all got together
and went to hear him. It was at, I think, Warren Western, when it was still Western Reserve.
I think so. Yeah, it was a great concert.
We all walked in just expecting to sit and watch the concert, and I don't know who got in touch with who, but all of a sudden our friend who
Thomas
was a bass trombonist got recruited to play in the Buddy Rich band because the bass trombonist had a swelled up lip from Buddy smacking him.
Oh,
and the worst part was Buddy didn't have a set list, and he would call off the tunes with drum riffs. And he would give you a little bit of time to pull the music out, and
then he'd kick it off.
And of course, our friend didn't know any of the drum riffs, so he had to wait for the guy next to him to figure it out. And then he had to go through the folder and find his part to put it up and play. And he was afraid that Buddy was going to smack him on stage for not coming in. So it was again, very intense.
Well, even the people that had been there, it was like watching a pig scramble.
Yeah.
You know, trying to figure, no, it's this, no, it's not that, no, it's not that, no. And finally, like the lead tenor or lead alto or something would call out, oh, it's this. And you just see the tension up there.
Oh.
And they would play great. You know, the band would sound fabulous. Buddy would sound fabulous.
But we were out by then, or you were playing lead or something, which is why you didn't end up doing it.
Well, Rob was playing very well at that point.
And so,
you know.
But we were all there, like all the jazz band people were there for that concert. That was crazy. I'm sorry, I interrupted.
Did you?
Yeah, you were describing Tony.
Oh, yes. Thank you. Sorry. You have so many teachers that you run into, and they kind of put up a wall and do things the way they're going to do them, regardless of what's going on with the student. And having taught for 40 years, I could certainly see that may be necessary in some situations. But your dad was willing to sacrifice his, the stress, he was willing to sacrifice the stress of being super involved with everything that everybody else was doing, under all the students that were underneath of him. And I know that stress too, but your dad was willing to take it all on and be talking to everyone that needed to be talked to and giving somebody a push when they needed to get talked to. And it was an amazing thing. And even though you were scared, you knew that it was for the good of you and the group and the program, when he was talking to you about something you may not have done correctly.
Right.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
He wanted the best, he wanted the best for everybody. It was up to you to do it or not, to do what he told you to do. And if you didn't do what he told you to do, then he got a little upset. More than a little. I don't know how many people I saw him throw out a jazz band for the day because they were not doing things correctly.
Well, we were lucky to have two teachers like that.
Yeah, we both did. We both grew up that way.
You had your high school teacher, but we also both had Bob Fleming.
Who was exactly the same pretty much.
I don't think he got quite into the trenches as much as Tony did, but he cared just as much.
Yeah.
And it was nice to have both of them, a concerted effort towards making things great. He's also the best conductor I think I've ever worked with. Bob.
Oh, yeah.
As far as, legitimate work, music.
And Tony would just stand back and, especially if he liked what was going on, he would just stand back and listen. Yeah.
Although I do remember a time we were playing, and I wish I could remember the name of the piece, but it was a difference of like 6 beats per minute whether or not we could play the piece. So he was up there with a handheld metronome, making sure that it was this tempo and not the other tempo, or so that it would be right against the wall that we could play it. I remember it was a great piece. I wish I could think of the name of it just now.
That was the difference between him and Fleming, because Fleming at the concert would go faster.
Yeah. Bob liked to throw a little bit of caution to the wind.
Yeah.
Well, we've lived here in this area for
35 years.
35 some years, something like that, and everything we do is away from here.
Yeah.
Played. I taught up at YSU for 12 years or so like that, and that's 90 miles from here. And
Pittsburgh.
Played at Pittsburgh for probably 12 years with the brass band. That's a lot of concerts. They used to play 12 concerts a year, or excuse me, a series. Yeah, it'd usually be within a month, and then they'd have 4 or 5 rehearsals in addition to that. You go up to YSU, go to Pittsburgh, come home.
Oh.
Or whatever. I taught at quite a few schools, so it could be another school, but at least 2 days a week, it was YSU during that time.
And I saw in your bio that you played in Italy.
Yeah, they did. I did get to go on one of their trips. They had a period.
The brass band.
Yeah, the brass band. They had a little bit of a funding problem for a while there, just because of the way the economy was going, really. But I did go on their Italy trip. They've also been to
Great Britain,
Japan, China, just a bunch of really great places to go. But Italy was fabulous. I really enjoyed it. The people there were really friendly to awkward Americans.
Who couldn't speak Italian.
Director was great, though. I mean, of course, he's from England, so he's somewhat multilingual to begin with, but then he would break out some program and learn better Italian. He was talking to the audiences in Italian, and they were fine with it. He said, "Is this okay?" And they said they would clap, you know.
That's
Yeah.
pretty cool.
And of course, he was Scottish, or is Scottish, so it's like having James Bond lead the group. And I can't do a Bond accent, so.
Yeah, they got to go to the Vatican and a couple other places.
Colosseum.
Yeah.
All over the ruins in downtown Rome, and I did anyway, and it was great. But of course, I guess I mentioned that because, you know, your dad is one of the people who made that kind of stuff possible by instilling that need to do things correctly and the will to do all the ridiculous practicing behind the scenes that make that happen. I know with the brass band, I would do what I just said earlier, you know, drive to Youngstown, teach, and then go to Pittsburgh and rehearse or perform, and then come home. And sometimes I would have to practice when I got home at midnight.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was crazy.
That's a lot.
Yeah, out in the studio, yes. Yes, let the people sleep.
For sure.
Yeah. Start all over again at about 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning, leave for whatever place I was going that day.
That's a very busy schedule. How did you manage all of that?
Well, that's kind of the reason I had to leave the group in part in 2013, because physically I was just shot.
Yeah.
I had a couple of years of physical therapy. Well, probably more like 4, getting over the difficulties involved with driving that much and playing that much.
Now, do you still play Patti?
Yeah, I've been teaching since 6 or 7. When Bob Fleming retired from YSU, he went to Hiram as band director, provided part of the stipulation was that they never have a marching man, which they didn't. And so we both went to Hiram to teach applied lessons for him. And that started my college teaching. I've taught, we taught at Hiram for what, 12, 15 years, way too long, because that was 2 hours one way of driving.
Well,
we taught, we both taught at West Liberty and West Virginia, Mount Union and Malone. But I've been at Kent State, the Stark campus in Canton, since January of 1990.
Okay.
And I teach sax, and I teach some other academic music courses, including the history of jazz.
Really?
Yes. The school, Kent has decided what they want to do is to have all of the branches try to differentiate themselves with different programs. And so our campus is a campus that has a music technology degree. And they added on to our building because of the degree. And we have a couple really nice recording studios. But as part of the program, the music technology majors are all required to take the history of jazz. And so that happens every fall. So we have that class in the fall, and it was real interesting this fall because it's the first time I'd ever done it all online.
Oh, yes.
But I show a lot of videos because I don't believe you can talk about jazz without seeing people play. So that was cool. I mean, it all got uploaded and everything, and it worked fine. But yeah, I really enjoy teaching that class. And again, that's in part due to Tony, you know. I was trying to think, the other story that I had was the last time I saw your dad, and I do not remember what year it was, but it had to be 2001 or 2.
Well, he passed in 2001.
Okay. Oh, okay. So when did we start at West Liberty? 98?
I'm thinking 96, 97.
I can't remember. Anyway, I taught there they had an auditorium, real nice, small, in an old building auditorium. And there were a couple of rooms above the auditorium. And they didn't know what, we were adjuncts, so they didn't know what to do with us. So they stuck me in this really huge, really nice room above the auditorium, which is where I taught. And it was like the biggest studio I've ever been in.
One of the better sounding ones.
And a nice baby grand piano that was sort of out of tune, but hey, it worked. And anyway, one day I was told, you know, you can't teach in there today because they're having something downstairs. And I'm like, okay. And I kept hearing music coming from downstairs, and I'm thinking, what the heck is going on? The kids weren't telling me, they didn't know what was going on. And when I started listening, I could hear jazz, and I'm, what is going on down there? So I had a little bit of time, and I took a break and I ran down there, and there's your dad sitting there in the audience. And it's just like him and two other guys, and they were having some high school jazz festival competition. And he was judging. And so I snuck around. I went outside because you couldn't get to the back of the auditorium without going outside. So I went outside and came in the front door of the auditorium and waited till whoever was playing was done. And I'll never forget the look on your dad's face. It was so funny because it was one of those looks like, I know you, but you're in the wrong place, you know? Yeah.
I've had that feeling many times.
And I just looked at him, and he looked at me, and he gave me this great big giant bear hug. And he's like, why are you here? And I said, why are you here? Because I didn't know what was going on. And so we couldn't talk for very long because they were just bringing the next jazz band on stage, which is why he had a break. Yeah. But that was the last time I saw him, and I'm so glad I got to see him. But it was just so funny because, you know, you don't expect to run into people in weird places, you know. Especially in West Virginia.
Right.
You're probably already doing this, but any photos that you come across that you are allowed to share, I'd love to see them. We don't have that many.
Oh, yeah.
Jazz band. Not exactly sure why.
Because I was playing.
Well.
And I would have been the person that took the pictures.
That's no excuse.
Yeah, we have a few.
Yeah.
We've got somewhere a photo album that I know there's a couple of pictures in that I took when I was in one band and you were in the other, but I don't even know where those are right now.
Yeah, we moved a couple of years ago, and then some of the things seem to be permanently lost.
Yeah, we're still trying to find things, so.
I know how that goes. I have boxes and boxes of my dad's belongings that it's hard to go through. It's very emotional. So I start and then I have to take a break. But my goal is to get through as much of this as I can before the tribute concert, because I know there's a lot of good stuff in there, and there's things I want to share with people that, you know, if you're in the photos, of course, I want you to have them. So as I go through them, if I see anything, I'll definitely be sure to share it.
Well, I'd be happy to have anything you feel you can share. So
yes, absolutely. And thank you so much for your time today. And it was so nice to talk to you after all these years.
It's nice to talk to you. I really feel honored to be part of the series. It's really nice.
Yeah. Thank you.
He was a great guy, and I really appreciate you pulling us into the forefront to talk about it.
Yep.
Oh, my pleasure. My pleasure. So, will you guys take care until we talk again? Stay safe and all that good stuff.
You too.
You too.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks.
Okay. Have a great weekend.
You too.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye.